Hi everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of StudyIQ IAS. In few days before, I was telling you about the rediscovery of the long-tailed duskhawker, that is a dragonfly in the Arunachal Pradesh. And once again, we can see that there had been the rediscovery of the Himalayan blueberries in the Arunachal Pradesh, which had been lost for nearly about 188 years. So over here, the pristine valleys of the Arunachal Pradesh, they offer the complete, the complete scenario, or you can see the complete habitat where there had been rediscovery of the previously lost, species, whether it is of the dragonfly or it is of the blueberries that we can see. And that is what we'll be discovering in this complete session. And we'll be discussing about the Himalayan blueberries as well. Now, the first recorded history of the Himalayan blueberries in the Arunachal Pradesh, it was recorded in the Mismi Hills in Arunachal by the British botanist William Griffith. Later on in 1850, there was a second collection in the Meghalaya's Khasi Hills by J.D. Hooker and T. Thompson. Now, between 1851 to 2025, there was absolute silence about the Himalayan blueberries in the wild, and it was thought or the belief that they have slipped quietly into the irreversible extinction and they were thought to be the extinct species. But at the same time, in May 2026, there had been the successful rediscovery by the CSIR NEAST, that is Northeast Institute of Science and Technology, and the Society for Education and Environmental Development, that is SEED, near the Noah Dehing River, that is there in Arunachal, very close to the Namdapha National Park that is there, which is known for the flying squirrel as well. Now over here, when it comes to the species, the scientific nomenclature is the Vaccinium Piliferum, and ultimately it belongs to the Ericaceae family, which includes the commercial grown blueberries and the cranberries as well, which you must be eating and you will be savoring these blueberries as well. So they are basically commercially grown, but at the same time, the Himalayan blueberries which had been found, they are the wild species which are there. Now, when it comes to the growth habit, so they are the climbing epiphytic shrub that attaches themselves to the host tree. All right, they are like a climber, and ultimately they are found in the moist, pristine forest canopy layers in the Arunachal Pradesh. Now, when it comes to the difference or the morphology of this plant or the species, so they have pale green, bell-shaped flowers as well as dark purple berry fruits which are coated in the protective, powdery, bluish white wax. As well as when it comes to the unseen traits that were not seen before or that were not recorded before, so there is the epiphytic adaptation and the distinct reddish leaf margins which had been documented clearly for the very first time in 2026, and that is again, it is very, very important. Now, at the same time, it is also important that this is a threatened species. Or you can say that there were just 16 of the plants or the individual plants which had been documented, and these plants, they are scattered in just tiny space of 2 square kilometer area along the tributary of Noah Dehing near the Vijayanagar in Arunachal Pradesh. When it comes to the IUCN listing, so it is categorized as endangered because of the highly restricted habitat, and there had been GPS tracking which had been used for this plant species or the 16 plants, so that there could be complete mapping to prevent any logging or the road construction damage to these species which had been found in the wild as well. Now, at the same time, when it comes to the ecological ecosystem where this had been found, so it was in the Vijayanagar, which is the ecological refuge for these species, which is located in Changlang district of the easternmost Arunachal Pradesh. Now, it is surrounded by the famous Namdapha National Park and even the Noah Dehing River Corridor. Now, when it comes to the Himalayan blueberries that we are talking about, which had been rediscovered, it is very important to note that this has a very distinct habitat. It is found in the mountainous climate where there is also the humidity that is present because of the rivers, and that is why it has a very distinctive ecosystem which is there. So it is found in the pristine, humid, subtropical to temperate mountain cloud forest. At the same time, it is the keystone indicator because the survival of this orchid-like shrub, it proves that there is lack of heavy human canopy disturbance in the region where they had been found recently. But at the same time, there is threat to the survival of this species. The first threat comes from the linear infrastructure expansion, that is the roads and the railways networks, which had been there near the sensitive Indo-Myanmar border. And ultimately, if there will be the linear infrastructure expansion, that will fragment the canopy as well as it will destroy the ancient host trees that are there. There's also another threat, that is the zoom cultivation or the shifting cultivation, where the local reliance is on the zoom cultivation that will wipe out the localized micro habitat for the species before they can be fully catalogued. Also, another threat is about the microclimate shifts, where we are seeing that there is the climate change and ultimately the temperatures are rising, that will reduce the cloud condensation heights. Ultimately, that will dry out the moist bark conditions which are required for these delicate species or the epiphytic shrubs that we are talking about. Also, another important threat is about the extreme low genetic pool, because there are only 16 of the plants which had been categorized and catalogued units, and any local pathogen outbreak that can wipe out the complete 16 plants which had been found for these Himalayan blueberries in the Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this is very important because when it comes to the wild relatives or the wild species which had been found for the commercial species which are grown for the blueberries or the cranberries, it is very important because they are the banks for the germ plasm. Alright, they provide the robust genetic blueprints for crossing with the cultivated plants or the saplings that we have, and thus they can transfer the drought and the frost resistance into the commercial species. Then another thing is about the natural immunity, because these wild plants, they have survived in the wild region where they have retained the ancient protective co-evolved chemical defenses which could be used for the commercial species as well. And also there is nutritional fortification as well, because when it comes to these species or the Himalayan blueberries, they have the high anthocyanin content, and this holds the major bioperspective value for the medicinal value as well, or the medicinal use as well. And that is why the wild variety of these Himalayan blueberries which had been rediscovered, they are very important as well. Now, if you have any questions or any suggestions, you can comment them down in the comment section below. That would be all in this video. But at the same time, if you are preparing for the civil services for 2027, 28 or 29, you can enroll into the GS Foundation batches at StudyIQ. Now, over here, the very important advantage that you get is that we have the smart model that is not with anyone, where you get the structured classes, you get the mentorship, you get the assessment, you get the revision and the test as well. Now, over here, it is very important to note that the batch will be closing, the enrollment will be closing on 31st of May. At the same time, it is the same date where the smart offer, where you are getting the 50% off, that will also close. So this is your time limit, or this is just your window where you can enroll into the batch and you can gain the advantage of the 50% off on the platform of StudyIQ platform. Now, how could you get this advantage? For getting this advantage of 50% off before the 31st of May, you have to use the code that is BRS Live, so that you can gain the maximum advantage on the platform. Also, if you are looking for the optional for your 2027, 28 or 29, and you cannot come to the conclusion that what optional should I take, so let me tell you that it is the public administration for which I am taking the classes, and the classes are basically in bilingual format. Alright, over here, what you need to do is, or what you need to understand while choosing the public administration as an optional, is that it has a major overlap when it comes to the GS subjects. It overlaps with your GS2, with GS3 and GS4 as well, along with essays as well. Alright, so again, you can enroll into the course of the public administration for your optional, and for gaining the 50% off, again, you can use BRS Live, that is the code. And also remember that the admission is closing for this batch as well on 31st of May itself. So that would be all. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me on the platform of StudyIQ IAS in English. I will see you in the next video, but till then, take care of yourself. Also, remember that share this with your friends who are preparing for the civil services. Do like the session if you have liked the video, and also do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the updates. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind.